as Jonathan has said, I don't think there is a solution in the short term. Unfortunately, with the baggage that there is, it will take a while to resolve it. But it is clearly something that needs to be addressed, that needs to be flagged up until there is recognition that it is something that needs to be preserved, that needs to be preserved. And I also think that is specifically a chance for the European Union to get involved in this, because it started off as a project and still is a project of better cooperation within the continent, to enable people to live in peace with each other. That's something that is, I believe, very strongly still the same compared to when it was founded. But as we have all experienced, we've come a long way from 1950, and there's still lots of things that aren't quite right. So I would say that, well, that's the only sort of word of caution, that it isn't something that's going to be resolved in the short term, but it's definitely something that the European Union can and should pursue.
I just want to raise this as a question by giving 2 or 3 examples. And I would ask both our candidates, especially Mr. Fryer, who quite correctly pointed out that this European project was a peace project between Germany and France. But I'm afraid forgetting to mention that it was between a Germany that had been completely denazified. And what I'm trying to say is that project would not have been possible between France and Germany of 1940s. It had to be between France and Germany of 1950s, where Nazism had been completely destroyed and Germany had been completely democratized of its own initiative, or maybe something that had been imposed from outside. But we can give other examples. Portugal, Colonel's Greece, Franco's Spain. Could anybody imagine that they would have been allowed into Europe? And none of these states had committed genocide. Now, in Turkey, the example is very much closer to Germany, Nazi Germany, where a state has committed genocide but is refusing to recognize it, is denying it, and is hostile towards its eastern neighbor. It would have been exactly similar to it as some sort of surviving Nazi state was in some sort of relationship with say, a crushed Poland to its east. And Europe said, well, just get on with each other, negotiate with each other, sort out something. It's just inconceivable. And I'm surprised how we cannot see this, and we expect somehow this football diplomacy, this nonsense thing, which doesn't even exist. I mean, how could Armenia, little Armenia, be expected to deal with a state which does not even allow discussion of the Armenian question in its own country? It's a crime. So and to come back and then to say, well, some sort of acknowledgement. We have Uta here from Germany, who quite rightly said, Germany is a state that has committed genocide. It had to acknowledge it, it had to apologize, it had to pay compensation, all the gamut of things, and there was no territory. Well, how come Armenians don't deserve this? Are Armenians some sort of untermensch that maybe Turkey, we should be careful, they might get upset. I don't care if they get upset. I've been destroyed. My territory has been taken. It's for Europe to say, look, stop. If we couldn't let Greece in, if we couldn't let Portugal in, if we couldn't let, and if it's, most of all, if it's inconceivable that a Nazi Germany could be let into Europe, it's inconceivable. You have to be sorted out. And if it cannot sort it out itself, which it clearly can't, because Erdogan is not the ruler, the rulers are the deep state, then Europe should take some more drastic action in order to sort Turkey out before it can be let into Europe.
You quite rightly referred to the deep state in Turkey. Again, I draw encouragement from the fact that the Ergenekon trials have been going on. A lot is coming out, which for many Turks has been a tremendous shock and a discovery, the degree to which these extremely sinister forces have had power. We have got to support democratic forces within Turkey to help that country democratize. That's what I really want. There is no quick solution. There's certainly, and I'm sorry, I don't accept the parallel of today's Turkey with Nazi Germany in 1945. It's not an apt parallel. It really isn't. I can understand, I hear what you say, I can understand, I can feel your pain, I can understand your outrage. But, for one thing, just the matter of time. No Turks today were around in 1915. Yes, they have the legacy of that, but they were not responsible in the way that Germans in 1945, or many of them, were responsible.
We have all the oil in Azerbaijan financing Azerbaijani propaganda. We have the power of Turkey financing Turkish propaganda. Basically, Turkey has massive strategic importance for countries like the UK and the United States. Azerbaijan represents an important source of oil and also has strategic significance for countries like the UK and the United States. The rest of Europe too, but mostly the UK and the United States. And Armenia represents very little or very little perceived importance. What actual importance it has is no relevance. It is not perceived as important, seen through the glasses that people in Whitehall here, in the Foreign Office, or in the United States wear. That's the situation, and that can be perceived in Brussels, and I'm sure if you speak to your authorities here, it's perceived here as well. It's unfair, yeah, but it's like that's the reality.
Very unfair.
Of course, but it's
do you see any,
but it's the reality we have to deal with, right? Now, these people are going to be in Brussels, and they're going to work. They're going to work within the European Parliament that doesn't run the Union. It is one of the three institutions that runs the Union. And within European institutions that have limited powers, right? They do not have a military capacity, for instance. The EU's oil policy is, or there is no EU oil policy. What oil deal countries want to make, they make. So the pipeline between Azerbaijan and Turkey, through Georgia, the Baku-Ceyhan and the other ones, the Nabucco pipeline and so on, those things are not decided in Brussels. Those things are decided. Candidates for coming. Jonathan, thank you very much. Uta,
Thank you.
to you too. Good luck in the elections. Thank you for coming and for showing interest in these important questions. And thanks to the AGBU London and to Armen and to Karin for organising this conference.